Hi everybody, my name is stockyjabberwocky, and welcome to my Rust Creative Server Guide. We'll be talking about the Intoxicated Sandbox Creative Server and how you can play around with base builds, admin powers, environmental customization, and content creation. Intoxicated Sandbox is a public server, so joining should be relatively easy. You can search for it in the modded tab or join manually with the following command, and I'll leave this in the description so you can copy and paste it if needed. Once you do join, you'll have access to a whole bunch of really neat features, and the most popular is building. The server is modded so that you don't need any resources or blueprints. You can simply build any structure with your building plan and remove it by pressing SHIFT+R. If you want in-game items or resources, you can spawn them in from the F1 menu. There's a few ways that you can handle the upgrading and downgrading of your building. Through the middle mouse button menu, you can change the default tier upon placement. This is ideal if you're more interested in the final product and want to skip out on the upgrading process. But if that process is important to whatever you're working on, you can always upgrade your base normally with a tool hammer. And again, you can do this without needing to spawn in resources. Also, from the middle mouse button menu, you can upgrade or downgrade your entire base with just one click, but that includes doors. And if your tiers are mismatched, they will upgrade and downgrade that way until you hit Twig or Armored. A great feature that can also be accessed from the middle mouse button menu is Noclip mode. Enabling Noclip allows you to fly around and clip through buildings and the environment. This is very useful for finding a spot to build when you first spawn in, and of course for working on your build. To make life a little easier, I recommend you bind this to a key. Traditionally it's the L button, but you can use this command and set it to whatever you want. The middle mouse button menu has three important privacy settings that you should probably know about. GTFO prevents other players from entering your claimed space, which is a bubble that forms around your building areas. Building protection prevents other players from damaging and griefing your base, and player protection is essentially God mode. Other players and environmental effects won't be able to harm you. These are all great settings and should probably always be enabled. But if you want to work with a friend, you can create individual exceptions through the Share button on the middle mouse button menu. Up next, let's talk a little bit about the creative side of the server. One of the coolest aspects of Intoxicated Sandbox is that you can pretty much spawn in any entity from the game. So trees, helicopters, loot crates, and animals can be spawned in from the middle mouse button menu. Select whatever you need from this menu and press SHIFT+E, which will spawn it wherever you're looking. This feature is very useful for content creators because you can easily customize and decorate your recording environment. And speaking of which, Intoxicated Sandbox gives you recording privileges that are usually only given to server owners and admins. And there are 3 levels to this. Number 1 is pretty simple, just a first-person point of view screen capture using something like OBS, Shadowplay, or a capture card, and that's what I've been doing pretty much this entire video. You can do this on any other server, but at least here on Intoxicated Sandbox, you can do it in a controlled and customizable environment. The second is with the Debug Camera. With this, you can detach from your character model, and it operates like a camera. You can bind it just like Noclip, and most people use P. I'll also leave this in the description if you want to copy and paste it. But the downside to this is that you cannot control your character model while operating the Debug Camera. The final option is with Rust's Demo Mode, which is similar to Demo Mode in CSGO or Theater Mode in Halo. It's not quite as polished as those, but it works very well once you can get the hang of it. To make a long story short, you can start recording with the command record file name, such as record test 01. You can then act out your scene, do what you gotta do, and then stop the recording with the command stop. You can then play the video back in demo mode with the command play file name such as playtest01. Getting into the finer details is a little beyond the scope of this video because, like I said, it's unpolished, and even simple things like rewinding and fast forwarding need to be hotwired. But I do have a video where I explain everything you need to know, such as how to create a custom playback system, how all of the camera settings and commands work, and even some more complex stuff, like creating virtual cameras that you can place and operate around your scene. But that's all I got for this video. If you have some advice that you'd like to share, or have questions to ask, please do and I'll check them all out. And as always, thanks for watching.